Hello, good afternoon, and welcome to the African Diaspora Podcast channels. The African Diaspora Podcast channels is a podcast channel that is focused primarily on investment and policy, particularly in Cross River State. I am Fidelis Ubana. Now, in Cross River State, we have focused so much on potential, but the truth is that we have forgotten about the structures, the policies, and how we can convert policy to profit. Now, today on the African Diaspora channels, we're going to talk about how we can convert policy to profit. And my guest this afternoon is no other person than a man I respect so much. He is, of course, the project lead of the Calabar and Gulf of Guinea Municipal and Trade Center. He's also a member of the National Advisory Committee on E-commerce and Digital Economy. I won't forget to mention that he is also the immediate past president of the Calabar Chamber of Commerce, Mr. David Etim. Many thanks indeed for coming on this podcast. Welcome.
Thank you very much.
It's good to see you after so many months.
Thank you very much.
So how has life been since you left office as president of Calabar Chamber of Commerce?
Relaxed. Because
was it too much work then?
Yeah, well, the fact of the matter is that when you take on a responsibility like that, which is voluntary, okay, so it's pro bono work, and you decide that you want to make a mark, the template is yours to design as you choose. So I decided that I wanted to make a mark. I gave myself two tasks. One was to address the issue of multiple taxation
in Cross River
State.
Yeah. Did you succeed?
So we made a significant impact, and we'll come to that.
So you did succeed relatively?
We succeeded. Yes, we did. We did succeed. And the second was to drive investment into Cross River State.
Okay.
About 2023 June, I had an interview in CRBC. And at that interview, I was talking about the Calabar and Gulf of Guinea.
Okay.
And I said that Cross River State has the potential of being the largest economy
in Nigeria,
subnational economy in Nigeria. And also by virtue of that, one of the largest economies in Africa at the subnational level. When I made that statement, I repeated the statement to a few government officials, and they laughed. David, how well?
Why did they laugh? Government officials laughing?
Yeah, because they did not believe.
They didn't see what you saw.
Yes, they did not see what I saw. They did not believe that it could be achieved in a short period of time.
Oh,
okay.
But you just said something. Hold on, let me interrupt you a bit. So you saw something many years ago.
Yes.
And you have just said they didn't believe that it could be achieved in a short period of time.
Exactly.
So are you saying that whatever you saw many years ago has been achieved?
Not yet. Not yet. But we're on that track.
Okay.
We're on that track. Now, when I repeated that, they said, it's not possible. Then funnily enough, by December of the same year, Phillips Consulting did an appraisal of subnationals and placed Cross River State directly below Lagos State. What's the difference? Cross River State is potential. Lagos State is realized potential. Okay. So
what's the difference between the two?
Yeah. Potential is that you have the capacity to do.
Okay.
Realized potential is that you are doing what you have the capacity.
Lagos State is doing.
Is doing what it has capacity to do. While Cross River State has capacity, but is not doing what it has capacity to do.
I'm going to interrupt because it's going to be an interesting 1 hour conversation, I must say. And so let me still take it back to the other question. What you do as David or your Etim for the Calabar and Gulf of Guinea? Because I would like Avias to understand what your job description is,
right? My job description in Calabar and Gulf of Guinea is simple.
Okay.
My job is to ensure the realization of this project. My job is to ensure the attraction of capital.
Okay.
Investment, long-term patient investment, not hot money. Long-term patient investment into West and Central Africa. Okay, using Calabar as the base. That is why our nomenclature is Calabar and Gulf of Guinea. The Gulf of Guinea is it is a bloc that is made up of ECOWAS, which has 15 countries, and Central Africa, which has 11. So 26 countries coming together in this bloc.
How realizable is this? Because it sounds interesting.
Very, very realizable.
It sounds like it is the path to the future we've all been praying for.
It's the present.
Well,
and I'll explain.
It seems as though we're not even making any steps yet.
Well, you see, one thing, our conversation today is the focus was policy
as a catalyst
for investment. Yeah. Now, there are 3 levels to investment. Before you can get to investment, there's policy.
Very important.
Yes. The policy gives direction.
Yeah.
There's policy. There's implementation. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
After implementation, then the catalyst is a derivative of the implementation before you come to investment. Our primary objective is to drive trade, okay, between West and Central Africa.
Mm-hmm.
Now, for you to drive trade in an environment where there is a huge infrastructural deficit, you need to also consider infrastructure. Okay? Now, my background is in the maritime sector. My investment interest in the Calabar and Gulf of Guinea, aside, because Calabar and Gulf of Guinea is a business members organization. Okay, it's designed as a business members organization. So the idea is that we de-risk the global environment, and then our investors, our members, then take advantage of those opportunities that we have de-risked. So we are looking at 26 African countries as a bloc. What are the challenges in those African countries that are inhibiting investment? Starting out with Nigeria, starting out with Cross River State as the subnational in Nigeria.
Mm-hmm.
What are the challenges inhibiting investment? What are the challenges inhibiting trade? What are the challenges inhibiting growth? Okay. Now, coming back to policy implementation.
And derivative, the third one.
And the catalyst, which the implementation generates the catalyst, the catalytic effect that drives investment. So, government enunciates a policy which is called the Africa Continental Free Trade Area Agreement, which says that Africa should become a single trading bloc where we trade freely with ourselves.
Just within the
African bloc, yes. Yeah. So that's 54 countries in all are signatories. The only one, Eritrea, is not a signatory to the AFCFTA. Okay, but
why so?
They chose not to.
So we have 53 countries signatories.
Yes, 54.
But Eritrea is out of it.
Yes, there are 55 in Africa.
So Eritrea is out, and that's leaving 54 countries. So 54 countries are signatories to these. And I asked the question earlier: how realizable is this?
Very realizable.
And yes, the potentials are fantastic, right? If Africa becomes, one single trade unit, I agree, fantastic. But can this be done?
Of course, yes. And it can be done in one lifetime.
Looking at how ununited Africa is.
That is a perception.
Is it?
Yes.
Or is it a reality?
It's a perception.
How so? When you can't travel from Nigeria to South Africa today without a passport or a visa?
No, listen. The question was disunited, not ability to move.
But that was an instance.
Disunity. Let's address disunity. Disunity was something that was implanted in Africa because of colonial interests.
You think so?
I know so. Colonial interests. Now, Africa got balkanized at the Rome Conference. Okay? Germany got some parts. France got some parts. The British got some parts. The Dutch got some parts. The Portuguese, the Spanish, everybody took a piece of Africa. Now, for them to be able to derive the benefit of that balkanization, okay, they needed to prevent the
unification of the African
I'm coming. The Efik man that is in Ikang, from trading with the Bamenda man that is in Kumbo or Kitiko, let's say. Okay? Because traditionally, we will carry our ogogoro, ufofop. We take it from here, we go across there. We sell it, we buy banga there,
and come back.
We come back here. So trade had been going on for millennia. Then all of a sudden, the German guy knows that, oh, there is banga which creates palm oil, which is a fuel that is required in Europe for industrialization. So he says to the man in the Cameroons, it is illegal for you to trade with the man in Calabar.
For XYZ reasons, right?
Because you are German. This is before the Second World War. You are German. He is British. We don't get along. And begins to sow that seed
of discord.
Now.
So has that been the problem several years after?
Yeah, for sure. That these vestiges of colonialism, we still have them today. Even when we start talking about governance today in Nigeria, I will show you mirrors of that vestige of colonialism.
All right,
in our government.
Mr. David, because of time, yes. I know we have a lot to say, and you always have a lot to say, and it's always an interesting time with you on any conversation at all. So our focus today is on policy and profit, right? Exactly. How to convert policy to profits. Yes. You are a policy expert, and I love what you do for Cross River. You're passionate about this state. How can we convert the several policies we have to profit? How can the people benefit from the very beautiful policies of government?
Beautiful.
Beyond paperwork.
Sure. Beautiful. Beyond paperwork. That's the key. Now, let's use Cross River State, the government structure of Cross River State. You have the governor, you have the state executive council.
Yeah.
The state executive council sits and they say, okay, we want to drive investment into Cross River State. So they create a policy document that says, Cross River State, let's drive investment. Now, the governor is not the executor of that policy document. That policy document must be transmitted to the public service, the civil service. It is the civil service that are the implementers of that policy. That is where the problem is.
So the problem lies with the civil service.
Exactly.
Handlers of the civil service.
The handlers of the civils, the handlers of the implementation of policy, which is the civil service. This is where the problem lies. Now, I shall break it down.
So the problem doesn't lie with the policies.
No. The policies are perfect. Policies are documents, they're thought.
So you have seen the policies, so at least some of the policies we have in our state.
Yes.
Would you say they are fantastic policies?
They are good policies.
Particularly investment policies.
Now, investment. Investment is actually I'm now talking about foreign investment. Okay? Capital flows from the federal to the state. As an investor, which I am, if I want to bring in capital into Nigeria, okay, that capital will enter Nigeria through the Central Bank of Nigeria. It must be registered and recognized that I have brought in capital into Nigeria. First, it enters federal government. Then I will say, this capital I have brought, I want to use it in a project in Cross River State. It is at that point that the federal government of Nigeria will transmit that capital to Cross River State.
Okay.
So the gatekeeper of capital is the federal government. So the gatekeeper by inference for investment is the federal government. Okay. Now, if Cross River State enunciates a policy that is misaligned with the federal government, then that your misaligned policy will not see the light of day. Okay. Now, speaking now as an investor, which is an investor. I invest across the world. I'm not just in Nigeria. Now, as an investor, one of the first things an investor looks at is, there's an ethics saying that I'm translating, the mouse inside the house is the one that will tell the rat that is outside that there's dry fish in the kitchen.
You're right. On the table.
Exactly.
So go get it.
Now, the investor, international investor, the mirror of a successful investment for the attraction for an international investor is the success of the local investor.
Okay, so let's get that point. That is very important and key. The attraction of an international investor or for an international investor is the success
of the local investor.
Are you saying or whispering that investors locally are not successful in the States?
Now, there is a historical problem in the state.
Okay.
There's a need for a paradigm shift in the public service
of the state.
Yes, there's a major need for a paradigm shift. Now, and I want to use the mirror image of Lagos State in 1999 and Cross River State in 1999 and Cross River State in 2026.
Sorry, just before you go there, I'd like us to just clear this so I don't forget my line of thought.
Sure.
So about local and international investors, I'm particularly interested in that comparison right now because you have just said something very striking, that those outside are looking up to us inside to see how well we do before they can come in, right? So I would like to get a direct response from you. Are you saying that local investors within the state are not as successful as they should be, perhaps because of policies?
Yeah, no. Not the policy. You see, you need to separate policy from implementation.
So is it the implementation process that is the bottleneck?
The bottleneck is at implementation.
Okay.
And I'll give you live examples because as we speak, I am driving an investment that is looking to come into Cross River State that will attract a minimum of $2 billion into Cross River State.
That's huge.
Yes. So now that program, okay, as a derivative of that program, we are looking to skill, reskill, and upskill on an annual basis for the first 5 years, 20,000 Cross Riverians. Okay, so we will train, we'll empower, we'll enable.
Okay.
20,000 Cross Riverians.
You said you're working on that right now.
That's Calabar Gulf of Guinea that I'm driving.
Okay, fantastic.
That's one of my scheduled activities right now.
And you're going to attract them to Cross River, Calabar.
Cross River, not Calabar only.
Cross River.
Okay. Now, as we speak, we have the Cross River State government has given approval that we can acquire up to 100,000 hectares of land in Cross River State.
Industrial land.
Agriculture, land, okay? What you apply the land to, it could be farming, it could be industrial. What we are looking at developing is industrial clusters. So, example, what am I saying as an industrial cluster? Out of the 100,000 hectares, we develop 20,000 hectares for cassava. In that cluster of 20,000, we will have cassava farmers, both at the smallholder level and at the industrial level, all working together. So if you want to be an independent cassava farmer, within our cluster, we can allocate land to you. You farm, we provide you all the inputs, we do your land clearing, we do everything. Your job is to manage that parcel of land that is allocated to you and add in your value add, which is your labor. Now, there will be also industrial farmers, who are doing 5,000 hectares, 1,000 hectares, whatever. So we're all in this cluster. Now, in that cluster will also be a processor who is basically your off-taker. Okay, so the aggregate volume of cassava we produce in that cluster will be the input volume required by the processor.
Okay, so that's a long process and an interesting one indeed. But let's just stay with the conversation so that we do not lose our line of thought this afternoon. You haven't still answered, maybe satisfactorily that question of policies and how, we can do better as a state and for our people.
Yes,
because you have said international investors look up to us, local investors.
The problem is that implementation.
So how can we solve that problem?
The problem, to solve the implementation problem, you require a paradigm shift in the mindset.
Who are the implementators of the policies?
The public service, the civil service.
In other words, appointees of government.
You see, you have to separate political appointees and the civil service.
So
the civil service, category of people are the civil service is a machinery. The political appointee is a driver.
So there are two categories now, right? Which of these categories is responsible for the failure of implementation?
The failure, I won't call it failure, but the maybe misalignment of implementation is the civil service.
Not the political appointee.
The political appointee is just a driver. Okay. You can change your commissioner today. You can change 20 commissioners in 20 days. The people that are driving the ministry is not the commissioner. It is the civil service. So the civil service is the most important component of governance. When you build an efficient system as private sector, what a private sector investor or business person, the most important thing to a business person in the private sector is his time. Okay? It's his time. Now, by virtue of that experience, in 72 hours, I went from having a problem
to getting it solved,
to giving a solution.
So that's the difference here, right? So are you saying
now, in Cross River State today,
we're not time efficient?
Absolutely not. And I'll give live examples. Problem,
of course.
I'll give you a live example. Calabar Gulf of Guinea.
Yeah.
On the 25th of October. First, let me go back. On the 8th of December 2023, I was invited to make a presentation to the state ESCO. And I'm on this project. I made the presentation. The governor, the deputy governor, full ESCO. We made the presentation. The governor at that point said, go ahead. The state government likes your plans. Let's work together. So we now went. My liaison office in Cross River State, my engagement point with Cross River State is the office of the Secretary to the Government. SSG's office. Now we begin the process of building that. So finally, on the 9th of May, a memo goes from the SSG to the governor on the project. That memo gets in the bureaucracy. This is why I keep talking about the bureaucracy.
We'll get there.
I'm coming. The memo gets caught up in the bureaucracy. It takes from the 9th of May, when it goes to leaves the SSG's office to the governor's office. It is the 25th of October.
4 months after.
Exactly. That it gets the approval of the governor. And that requires follow-up. Okay. Now, that process, then it goes back and then we start the process of building. We're supposed to set up a working group, that it's an interministerial working group and all of that. And that process from the approval through to now where we are at the point of almost signing the contract, 2 years.
So that's a bureaucratic
bureaucracy. We have access to everybody. Okay, any commissioner I want to see, I want to.
We know the problem. There's a lukewarm attitude in the public sector. How can we fight that? Solve that problem?
That is why I'm talking about the paradigm. There has to be a reorientation. Okay. Now, this reorientation I see to be driven by two principal agencies.
Which are?
One, the head of service. Okay, has to drive this reorientation. Two, the State Planning Commission. These are the two anchor points that have to drive this reorientation of the public service to move away from bureaucracy for the pace of paper pushing to the point of bureaucracy for accuracy but speed. Okay.
Moving from paper pushing to accuracy
and speed. Yes. Now, Lagos State, there's still bureaucracy. But the bureaucracy is timed. A document gets to your table, you have to process it within a specific, there's KPIs, key performance indicators, for everybody, from the cleaner to the commissioner. There are KPIs, whereby a document gets to your table, you must treat it within a specified time and move it on. You can't. I have a document that was stuck in the bureaucracy for 168 days for no reason.
But could that also be a pointer to the fact that a lot of people have said Cross River is more of a civil service state, and so everyone just relaxes and, they go about their business usual civil. But Lagos is the up and about state, right? Where everything is done because, you must get it done. So could that be a problem too?
Now, Cross River State is a civil service state, you say.
That's what they used to say.
No. They still say it.
But I think we're doing better than that.
Yeah, we have improved.
Yes.
But we are not where we should be. Now, I want to take us back to pre-independence Cross River or Southeastern State or this part of the country. I happen to be, my father is Oron, my mother is Efik. Okay? My grandfather's house in Calabar is number 2 Basiduke. It was completed in 1945. It's a mansion today. You can imagine what it was.
1945.
It was completed in 1945.
Long time ago.
Exactly. Now, my grandfather made his money from trading in palm oil. Okay? He built his house. He completed his house in 1945. Today, if you try to break a hole to put an air conditioner, I remember when we were kids and they wanted to put an air conditioner in my mother's room in the house. It took 1 week for the bricklayer to break the wall, the space of an air conditioner. Why? Solid. Okay. Now, that was this part before independence.
Yeah, right.
Trading was our stock in trade. We were trading with the Cameroons. We were trading with Equatorial Guinea. That was called Panya. Fernando Po. Okay? We were trading for millennia. This idea of we are a civil service state only started, I think, even after the Civil War. You get my point? Because of the war, people had lost their wealth, and the only place to be able to pick up and rebuild your life was get employment with government, because government was the only employer
at the
time. And so that is where this idea of civil service comes from. But we are not traditional. Look, the federal government, when they wanted to create the first free trade zone in Nigeria, free trade zone number 1 is Calabar Free Trade Zone.
Yeah.
Why?
True.
Because they recognize that you are a trading hub naturally.
I sit back and I wonder sometimes, how did all of these things just go away? How and why did we let all of these things die off? Now everybody's focused on oil business, focused on civil service, or perhaps getting a job with government. Nobody's talking about the real oil money, not oil money in quotes.
Yes, the real money.
The agriculture, trade.
Exactly.
And I get worried. How can we go back to those beautiful days of, in your words, trading with our neighbors?
It's happening, but it's not just happening fast enough. Now, government, you see, unfortunately for us in this part, we look at government as if government is God that can solve all our problems.
Some people say after God is government.
No, in terms of authority, yes, but not in terms, you see, even God does not bless indolence.
True.
If you are sleeping in your house and you can pray and speak in tongues and drink all the olive oil in Nigeria, you're not going nowhere. But once you get up and move, you get up and put a seed in the ground, you water that seed, you manage that point of that seed in the ground, you manage the environment of the seed. God will then bless you. It is said in the Bible that in a time of famine, God said to everyone was going to Egypt, God said to Isaac, don't go, stay here. Farm here. Two things. Isaac had knowledge about farming. He was not ignorant about farming. Okay? And he was committed to what he had to do.
All right, Mr. David. Like I did say, let's not, go away from our focus today. Policy as the catalyst for investment. Let's go back to policy and investment in Cross River State. What do you see in Cross River as it regards foreign direct investment? What do you see when you look at this state? Do you think that we have what it takes to attract the amount of foreign investors we need as a people? Do you think the right policies are in place? Do you think governance is working effectively? Do you think we have everything running or moving for foreign investors to say, hey, you know what? Let's go to Cross River State and put in our money and invest.
Now, first thing, I want to take it from the top down. In terms of the desire to get the state to work right, at the leadership level, which is the level of the governor, his heart is in the right place. The governor's heart, without a doubt, is in the right place.
I agree.
Okay? He wants it to happen. However, I said, look, the governor is one man. He's driving a machinery. Governance is a machinery.
A big one.
A big one. And no matter how much he wishes it, if the rest of the parts in that engine are not working in sync, his desires will only end at desire.
So sometimes it may not be the governor's fault.
A lot of the time.
It may be those he has appointed, those he has put on ground to work.
I can honestly say, because I interact with him. Okay, I can honestly say that 99% of the constriction is not from him. He gives on the 25th of October, 2024, he gave an approval. As at yesterday.
Maybe that's when the letter got to his office.
No. The letter would have gotten there, but bureaucracy, the files, document, wahala, up and down, border dispute, Abuja call you, all kind of craziness going on.
Issues and all that.
All of that going on. So by the time he had time to come round to that particular document, it was on the 25th of October, 2024. Now, between that time and yesterday, I was at the Attorney General's office trying to fine-tune our framework agreement, the baseline agreement on this matter. Okay? We are still fine-tuning it as at yesterday. Now, that is bureaucracy. I'm not blaming anybody. It's just the way the wheel turns. Now, I believe that wheel can turn a lot much faster. Now, if I wasn't from these parts, okay, 9 out of 10. Look, what I'm trying to do in Cross River State, like I said it at an event where the PBEC, the Presidential Ease of Doing Business, they had a forum here in Calabar. And I said, look, what we've taken 2 years plus, 3 years now to do, if I went to Macedonia in Europe, 90 days I'm done. From the meeting, from the time I did the presentation at ESCO to the time I will be signing my contract, 90 days.
3 months.
3 months. It's done. Now, it's taking me 3 years. Here. If I was not from here, if I was not passionate about the state, I will move on.
Right.
Because it's my money. I'm not coming to Cross River State.
Of course.
Yeah, my money, the capital that is being invested is my capital. Whether I borrow it or I use my pocket money.
It's your money.
It's my money.
All right, Mr. David, quickly. So you have mentioned one bottleneck, the bureaucratic process involved in getting
the biggest bottleneck
and all of that. What are the other bottlenecks you think are currently restraining Cross River State from achieving its full potential as an investor's hub?
Look, before every investor starts with meetings. Every investment starts with meetings. If I come into Cross River State and I come in, I fly in, I'm a businessman, right?
Yeah.
I'm not here, I don't get subvention. I come in to have a meeting with someone. Okay. And we've agreed, let's meet tomorrow by 2:00. So I set up, I come in, I arrive here. By 1:30, I call, I'm on my way to you. I say, sorry, I had an appointment. I have to dash to Abuja. I'm in Abuja right now. Okay? That's a real challenge. For a businessman, straight away, what's this? I just paid my way to come here. I am here for a meeting that was pre-arranged, maybe 1 week before. And now that I am here for a government exigency, maybe no fault of the particular officer, he's out. The businessman immediately gets disheartened. Immediately.
I agree.
Now, a foreign investor who has the opportunity, I'll give you another instance. In 2012, I brought in 13 investors during the time of Leah Limoke. I signed 13 immigration indemnities for potential investors that I brought to Cross River State. I went out with my own money, my own time, to Switzerland, to Germany.
13.
I went with my own time and my own money. I went to Switzerland, had meetings, went to Hamburg, had meetings, went to East Africa, had meetings, gathered them, brought them to Calabar, signed indemnities. They said to me, look, David, you are marketing your state. Mm-hmm. We will come and see. Because of
what
you
we
will come and see. Okay? When we decide that we are going to invest, whatever you have spent, will now
make a
refund you. I said, no problem. We shook hands on it and we walked away. I
want to hear what happened.
I funded the entire trip. They came in. Then when they came in, because I had to sign this immigration indemnities. And what is an immigration indemnity? An immigration indemnity is that this person is coming to your country. If a mosquito bites him,
exactly, it's up to you.
If mosquito bites him, it's your headache. If they kidnap him, it's your headache. Anything happens to him, you are going to account to us for his head.
Yeah.
So for each individual that came, I had 2 NOPO. They pick you as you come out of the plane. They pick you at the foot of the plane. They follow you through immigration. You had each person that came was in a bulletproof car.
All this done with your money.
I spent $13,000 to finance the security of those people.
Just security.
Yeah, $13,000. I paid it to G4S. $13,000. I still have the receipt.
So I'd like to know, how did this whole thing end? Let's run. Yeah.
Now we come in. They look at Tinapa. They look at the ranch. The Swiss guy was very interested in the ranch. They sent a questionnaire through. 2 people were interested in the ranch. In fact, the Swiss guy just died yesterday at 94.
Ouch.
Before that, 2 years ago, a guy called Aga Khan, a Pakistani, but based out of Kenya, sent his own person from Kenya to come. They came, they were looking at the ranch principally. The Germans were looking at Tinapa, but the ranch was being looked at by the Swiss guy and Aga Khan to invest in it. They sent a questionnaire. This issue of bureaucracy. They sent a questionnaire. Please, Cross River State, answer these questions. We have seen the place, we like it, but answer these questions and we will take our investment decision. As I speak to you today in 2026, this was 2012 or so, till today, that document was never responded to.
No, I like to understand. These questionnaires were, printed by you? Or?
No, by then it was sent electronically to me. So I forwarded them electronically to Cross River State government.
Who did you forward the documents to?
No, it doesn't matter. That's history now.
Because I like to know.
No, it was Cross River State government. No.
Because I mean,
it was forwarded to Cross River State government.
For Cross Riverians, so it should have just
not Cross River. The Cross River State. The assets belong to Cross River State government. Do you understand me?
Yeah, of course.
The assets are Cross River State government,
of course, managed by the government for Cross River.
Yes, but the document was sent to the manager, which is Cross River State, to me.
Yeah.
To Cross River State government.
I wish you could mention the name of
no
the
need.
official.
No, that's history. It's done. No need.
So you couldn't trace it.
You don't know how it ended. It's not about tracing.
So investors got angry and left.
Please, it's not about tracing. The documents were delivered to Cross River State. Cross River State acknowledged the receipt of those documents, but nobody, they didn't act on them.
And we were in 2026.
We're in 2026 now.
And then they got angry and left.
The investor, after about 2 years or 1 year, immediately after Lear left, I had to go back to Switzerland for some other business.
So all your money?
No, my money, forget that one. That's written off. I went back to Switzerland and I met this Swiss guy that died yesterday. We were having lunch and I said to him, Mr. Cleaver, I'm really sorry about this. He said, David, don't worry. I know that you did your best. We liked it, but the government, we also know that in Africa, these things happen. However, now I will tell you, I like the place that's Tinap. No, that's the
ranch. Yeah.
The ranch. I liked the ranch, that facility so much. I had set aside $50 million to invest in that facility. But because your people did not respond, I moved the money and invested it in Kigali.
He did?
Yes. He said it to me.
So lost $50 million worth of investment.
Now, that is because of this idea of...
And I'm wondering why you're withholding this official's name. You said
it's no need. It's immaterial.
No need, but
listen.
Cross variance should know who cost them $50 million.
No need. That's history.
Yeah.
Okay.
But a painful one, actually.
Life moves on.
Right.
At the presentation that I made in 2023 to the ESCO under the current administration, I repeated what I'm saying. All those that are in the ESCO know, if they listen to this, they will know that, yes, I said it.
The governor heard.
The deputy governor heard.
How did he react to it?
It doesn't matter. The governor said to me, David, let us move forward. And I said, yes, I agree.
That's the governor we know.
Yes, let's move forward.
Things like that.
And that is why we are moving forward. Okay. Now,
sorry to interrupt, Mr. David. I must say at this point, well done and kudos to you, because most persons like you would have thrown in the towel, would have moved on. But you have shown passion for your state after losing thousands of dollars, losing investors who would have probably, of course, given you your money back and all
thousands of dollars and millions of naira. You're still back. And we are still investing
for this state. So I must say, well done.
Thank you.
And that is what this podcast is for. Let's move into, other issues now. Taxation.
Beautiful.
It is something many people cry about, particularly in Cross River. Many years ago, we lost a lot of companies, businesses shut down because of high taxation in the state. I'm not so sure of where we are as it concerns taxes right now in the state, but I know that the governor is doing all within his power to see that these too many taxes are cut down. But what are your thoughts on the kind of taxes businesses pay, particularly foreign investors in Cross River?
Now, firstly, I mentioned that when I was president of Calabar Chamber of Commerce, I gave myself one task, principally the issue of taxation, multiple taxation. And that stemmed from an experience I had. I went to Ikaika Market, Marian Market. It was just before the elections. And I was sitting in the car. I went with a friend of mine and she was shopping. And there was a lady with a headpan, maybe peppers or just small headpan. That time where there was cash squeeze, there was CBN, no money.
Emefiele period.
Emefiele, exactly. Now, the woman, the touts that go around and were collecting
taxes from
people. The levies, exactly. That were going around collecting levies, goes to this woman.
Was she by the roadside?
By the roadside. And is harassing her for money. The woman says to him, I don't have cash, but I'm willing to do a transfer to you, or let's go to POS. The man says no. And is harassing her for cash. The woman is in near tears. I am fuming like fire is burning inside my stomach.
I can understand.
But, and that triggered me. And I, as president of Calabar Chamber of Commerce then, I convened a meeting immediately after after the elections. There was then the fuel subsidy is gone. So immediately after that, I convened a meeting, a strategic meeting of the Calabar Chamber of Commerce. And at that meeting, we discussed extensively, and I picked Ikaika Okwa as a case in point. And we did a bit of a research, and we discovered that in Ikaika Okwa back then, especially those street traders, were being taxed 1,000% above what they are due to pay in some cases. So we picked it up. I personally did a presentation to the House of Assembly in Cross River State. I wrote to the House.
Mm-hmm.
I first spoke to that was immediately after the Speaker became Speaker. I got his number.
That's what you mean?
Sorry?
Okay,
the current Speaker, yes. The
Right Honorable Elvet.
Elvet, exactly. I got his number. I called him. I spoke to him. And I did a presentation and I sent to the House. Based on that, there was a public hearing called. I was invited to make a presentation. I made the presentation amongst several others. And as a direct consequence of that, the presumptive tax bill of 2023 was moved. The day they were moving it on the 28th of December, I received a call from the Accountant General of the state, who is also the champion for ease of doing business in the state. She called me, said, David, where are you? I said, I'm in my house. I said, you're not doing carnival. I said, I beg, let me just rest. He says, we need you in the House of Assembly now. The Speaker wants to speak to you. I said, Speaker? He said, yeah. He said, what is they put me on speaker? I said, Speaker, don't worry. I'm coming there. Don't need to talk on phone. I will come. And I went to the House. As soon as I got there and I announced myself, he called off the House. He went into chamber. They invited me into chamber. He said, Mr. Etim, we're about to move this presumptive tax bill. Are you on board with us? Are you happy with it? I said, well, I may not be totally happy with it, but it is a good start. Let us go.
Why are we not happy with it?
No. It's not that I was unhappy. I mean, they can always be better. There's no law that is perfect.
True.
You get my point. So, yes, it may not be perfect.
Did you go through the tax bill? Did you see what?
Of course, yes. Of course, yes. I mean, we're part of the whole process.
Okay.
So, the idea was, yes, it may not be perfect, but it is a step forward.
A step forward.
Let's move. So immediately after that, we went back in, he called back on, we went in and they moved the motion. The following day on the 29th, the governor signed the bill.
So how did that bill affect that woman who was harassed?
Exactly.
That's where I'm heading to right now.
Exactly. That changed significantly the activities in the Ikaika market. You can go and interview anybody in the market
so
today.
The taxes there dropped from over 1,000%.
Clear.
So how, do you have an idea what they pay now?
No, what they're paying now is what they should be paying.
Should pay. Okay,
exactly.
That's nice.
Now that was for me a major accomplishment. Okay,
well done.
And yeah, no, I patted myself on the. I mean, for me, you know, they say there's when a lizard falls from an tall rope tree.
Well done.
He shakes his head. Say yes. Right. So I already congratulated myself
well
and
done.
I moved on.
Well done.
So we did that. Now that spirit also permeated to the national level, where the president also picked up the issue of multiple taxation and being able to harmonize all the taxes from the federal level down. Now, investment taxes. Corporate tax is a federal issue, not a state issue.
Yeah, true.
Okay, so the taxes that an investor has to deal with come from the federal. Okay.
Which you must pay.
Now, with this, the way they have harmonized all our taxes and everything is now codified into one document. So you are not looking about 20, 30 different documents to be able to analyze your tax obligations. Now it's one document and everything is in there. So it has simplified the process. So there's an improvement, but it's just January 1. You get my point? Taxes are not paid in advance. A key thing during that time, in Cross River State, capital was being taxed, not profit. Tax is supposed to be on
the profit,
not capital. That woman with the headpan, what was being taxed was her capital,
not the profit. So is that an error on the part of government or a deliberate attempt for government, in quotes, government officials to exploit citizens?
It was a racket. Let's call a spade a spade.
Racketeering.
It was racketeering. Okay. It was racketeering that was looked away. Government looked away for various reasons. But the government of Prince Basidero II, Senator, is not looking away. But he has taken it up.
Even at that, if you go to Marion and other areas, you still see these boys on the street harassing people for taxes.
You see, look, now, culture. Let's come to the issue of culture. When you have a culture that has existed for, this thing had started maybe the tail end of Lieli Moke's time and ran throughout the Ayade years. Okay? Weaning people off a culture takes time. Now, let us understand that the current, the governor today, Senator Prince Bassey Oto, came from a political family. He's a product of a political family.
All right.
I'm not a politician, so I can speak. He's a product of a political family. Now, that political family had a culture which he inherited. Okay? When you see that in your family, there are certain practices that are not what you totally align with, it is madness to just start shooting gun and killing everybody in the family.
True.
You have to re-educate. Now, that re-education...
Reorient them and see how
exactly. Takes time.
Yeah.
Takes time. So, the process that His Excellency has followed in weaning them off gently so that he keeps the family together, but he stops the bad habits. That's the process we are going through. So yes, you may see a few touts on the road jumping and harassing people, but that is a dying breed. Okay. You need to understand that these are the last vestiges of that order.
So are you saying that in a couple of months or years, we might just see an orderly taxation manner in Cross River State, where the real taxes are paid into the real government account?
It's already started, because even the government recently made a publication that nobody should pay tax by cash.
I agree
and
with you,
don't pay
but
to anybody's account.
But even that, if you go into the street, people say pay taxes by hand to
because
agents.
They know. Because, you see, it's tradition. It's culture. Now, I want to use colonized times. The white man said that I should not trade with my brother in Cameroon. He put a customs man in Nigeria and a gendarme in Cameroon to prevent me. The gendarme is a black man like myself. Okay? So the customs man is a black man like myself. But he's reporting to a structure that says I'm not supposed to trade with my brother on the other side. Now, he has built that tradition into the system. So even today, with AFCFTA saying that it should be free trade, try crossing the border at Ikang.
Big problem.
Big problem. Yeah. Why? Tradition. There is no regulation that says it should not happen. It should happen that way. Tradition. But because of the tradition, it's happening. And the people are paying because my grandfather paid it, my father paid it, my mother paid it, I'm paying it.
So let's talk about direct foreign investors now coming to Cross River State. And sometimes the key issues they look out for are taxes, right?
Of course.
And some of them get scared if they hear that, hey, when you go to that state, you pay a high volume of taxes and all of that. What tax incentives do you think the state can put in place to encourage foreign investors to come in? Look,
like I said to you earlier, corporate taxes, the foreign investors' taxes are a federal issue. The state has no control over it. Okay, what the state can do for the foreign investor is the ease of land acquisition, the ease of manpower, access to manpower. Cross River State is, Calabar. University of Calabar is here. Cross River State University is here. These are manpower pools.
Are you saying, Mr. David, that corporate taxes are, of course, the federal government?
It's the federal government.
I agree with you.
Yes.
But there was a time we had Glow. I mean, mentioning his name now is wrong on air.
Yeah.
We had a particular telecom company in Cross River State.
Yes.
And they were doing well at some point, and then they moved.
Yes.
And people said, you know what, they moved because of the high taxes.
No, you see, now, you need to understand.
So is that the state government asking them to pay?
No. The state government, as at that point in time, may have demanded of them certain payments. I'm not privy to the details. May have demanded
of certain payments called. They're not called taxes.
Look, they say the man that has the pencil has the eraser.
True.
So the state government can actually create a tax that had not existed 6 months ago because they want to make money.
And that can be called an illegal tax.
No, it's not an illegal tax, because once they pass the law and it becomes this House of Assembly approves the law, it is not illegal. But it is when I came into Cross River State as the operator, that tax was not there. It was not there. Now, all of a sudden,
The taxes.
a law comes into place that says I must pay an X amount of money. And it's not part of my budget. It's not part of my plan.
Situations like that. And for a state
Now,
like
let me
ours,
finish.
what
Let
can we
me
do?
finish. Now, because of that, the company feels that they're being
Overtaxed?
railroaded. They're being railroaded into something. And the best thing for them to do is pull back. That's when those things happen. Now, what the federal government has done now with the Joint Tax Board and all of this is that all these issues, there can be no more surprises in taxes. No more. Because everybody has now coalesced into one body. They've all come together into one. Okay? So that now, if there's going to be any issue, it's going to be discussed. There's going to be a notice time for everybody to be aware that something is coming.
All right, so as we begin to wrap up this conversation now, I'd like to ask this question. Even though you mentioned it briefly earlier, the government can somehow help these investors with infrastructure and all of that, perhaps reduce the cost of land infrastructure and other forms
land
of
acquisition,
infrastructure.
Yeah.
But apart from that, what else can the state government do? Of course, you mentioned that taxes are not really the sole duty of the state government in terms of corporate taxes now.
Yes.
What else can the state government do if I want to come invest in Cross River, so that's a foreign investor?
Yes.
What can the state do for me?
Now, one of the things, and I'm going to draw from the agreements we're discussing with the Cross River State government. One of the things one of the clauses in that agreement is that the state government will work with us where we require approvals from the national. Because we are located here, the state government will provide us the support, the oomph, to be able to facilitate engagements at the federal level. Now, Calabar and Gulf of Guinea has an interministerial committee at the federal level where a lot of the federal agents, all the federal agencies involved in trade, from customs, even up to the National Security Advisor's Office, because trade is something that, trade is money.
It cuts across.
Exactly. So even the National Security Advisor's Office is represented there. Cross River State is also there. Now, but even with that, when we want to engage with federal government, we want the Cross River State government to go with us, to provide us that sense of belonging.
To own the project, if I would say.
Well, not necessarily own the project, but to endorse the project. Because owning carries a lot of other value, meaning.
Hasn't the state endorsed the project here?
Yeah, no, the state has. No, what I'm saying is that you're asking me that what would an investor want from the state?
Yeah.
And I'm giving you that. That support, that embrace that the investor receives, the protection.
Yeah.
That is what the state can offer to an investor.
Great.
And now once the state offers that, then it gives the investor the peace of mind that, you know what, I have somebody that is critical in my corner.
Well, Mr. David, I know you for a fact. I mean, you're a good talker. You're very objective and you always have facts and data. And if I allow you to continue, I'm sure we'll leave here by morning tomorrow. So we have to run.
No problem.
But I promise to bring you back on this podcast because I know you have a lot to say, particularly as it concerns investing in your state, in our state, Cross River. I must thank you so much indeed for finding time to be on the podcast this afternoon. My name is Fidelis Ubana and our focus today has been on policy to profit. How policy can be converted into profit. And Mr. David has done justice to that. Now you know what the problems have been and how the problems can be solved. A lot has been unpacked on this episode. I'll see you all. Until then, keep it here on the African Diaspora channels.